What's going on, guys? It's your boy Alex, and I was reading a book recently, kind of this morning, maybe last night, about Alexander the Great. Now, Alexander the Great is one of the greatest ever military leaders, ever. He had one of the most powerful armies at his disposal, and he kind of ruled the entirety of the known world before he was 30. And, that's mad. The entirety of the whole known world before he was 30. That's crazy. Anyway, so I was reading this book about Alexander the Great and how when he was going through his conquests, when he was, overpowering other armies and taking over different countries and stuff, he got to a place called Gordium. Now, in this place called Gordium, there was a chariot, like a super old, important chariot that had had a rope and it tied to a stake in the ground or something. It was tied to something, keeping it there. And so Alexander the Great asked one of the locals, what is the deal with the chariot? Because everyone, it was important to them. So the local said to Alexander, the person who unties the knot, so there was a knot in the rope, the person who unties this knot will rule Asia. But it's impossible. That's what they said to Alexander the Great. This knot, if whoever unties this knot, connecting this chariot to whatever was holding it in place, was going to rule the entirety of Asia. Now that's an impossible challenge. There are impossible challenges every single day in everybody's life. Now, if we all took the mindset of Alexander the Great, we can solve those. Now, what Alexander the Great did was he thought outside of the box. He didn't follow everybody else in the thinking of that it was impossible to untie. What he did was he got his sword out of his scabbard, I don't know what you call sheath, I don't know, but he took his sword and he sliced through the knot. He had solved the impossible challenge. And then he went on to rule a ton of Asia anyway. Funny side note. But yeah. So he was told that this knot is impossible, and he thought outside of the box and did what nobody else would do or even thought about doing. He didn't follow the well-trodden path. Now there's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, a famous psychologist or philanthropist or philosopher or something. Anyway, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that you should not go where I completely butchered that quote. I don't know, I'm just going to paraphrase it. Don't go where the path may lead. Go where there is no path and leave a trail. Now, there are two parts to that quote. I'm going to dissect both of them. The first part, what was the first part? The first part was, don't travel the well-trodden path, basically. I'm sure you've already heard this before. You can link this to thinking outside of the box, because the box is where everybody is and you're thinking outside of it. There's the well-trodden path where everybody's going and you're going completely transect line away from it. And that's how you solve difficult issues, impossible issues, problems, challenges, obstacles. That's how you do it. You don't follow the well-trodden path. You do the same as everybody else, you'll get the same as everybody else. The second part of that quote was, bear with me, getting a little heated. Anyway, second part of that quote was the part about leaving a trail behind you. Now this doesn't necessarily link to solving impossible problems, but I'm going to share it with you anyway because it's an important thing to kind of understand and realize, is the fact that if you don't follow the well-trodden path and you do just take a detour, you completely go off that path, other people will see you, other people will notice you. Initially, they may think, God, that's a bad decision. Why did he do that? He should have done that. He should have stayed on here with us. But then a little way down the way, when people see how fine you're doing, how well you're doing, you might even be succeeding, there will be a trail there, and they will follow you. They will feel inspired from you. Their life will improve directly because of you. It might be your family member. It might be a friend. It might be a stranger. It might be a friend of a friend who you've never met before, but you told them this one thing and they decided to change their life for the better because of you. Because you didn't follow the well-trodden path and you made your own trail. They followed after you. So yeah, that's how you solve impossible problems. You think outside of the box. Like Alexander the Great, you get your sword and you cut the knot. You don't follow the well-trodden path. You take a detour. You go where there is no path. And you'll find your own treasure. That was pretty good. So yeah. That's how you solve your own impossible problems every single day. If you enjoyed today, I mean, I just thought about that all because I was reading this book, or just reading about Alexander the Great. It made me think, wow, I need to say this to someone, so I decided to say it to a camera, to you guys. If you liked today's video, please leave it as a like. Click that little thumbs up button down below. Write a comment about what you think, or maybe a topic I should talk about in my next video, or a couple of videos, like in the future. Yeah, done. Peace.